lunch on Wednesday.
Well, you still gotta have it.
Oh, okay.
Still get lunch.
Surprise, man. Long time no see.
For 2 months now.
Oh.
Yes, you
You know?
But we will have. They're expecting our first grandchild.
Wow, perfect timing.
His name is Jack.
His name.
I missed the first one.
The one you missed it.
Oh, yeah.
We're actually here tonight to celebrate two things. The first thing we're here to celebrate is a failure. For months and months and months, I have been trying to convince Bill not to retire. And I have failed. But my failure is Bill's gain and his family's gain. And Bill, I know you're so young at heart that you're going to have a fun and long retirement, a happy retirement, and I know you're gonna enjoy it and do well in retirement. So the second thing that we are here to celebrate is Bill's incredible 46-year career at Wells Fargo and the predecessor banks. That's just an astounding number that I can't even fathom. And I know I will never personally reach that number.
As long as
I've already hopped around too much. But it's when you think about the number, it's an incredible number, an incredible accomplishment, Bill, and you should really be proud of what you have done and the career that you have had. So on behalf of the thousands and thousands of teammates and clients that you have worked with over the years, I would just like to say thank you for your 46 years of service. And we have a small sampling of those thousands and thousands of people here tonight, and I'm sure that some of them would like to say something to you as well. So I will open it up to others who feel like they would like to roast Bill.
No offense. Bill, you're going to be missing some of the things that you probably don't like about working. Pressure, stress, frustration. Not that you had a lot of that at Wells Fargo, but there was some.
You said it got a lot better when you left.
But the other things that you will miss is accomplishment, satisfaction, and camaraderie. Satisfaction and accomplishment of getting remediation done by Friday. You thought that was important, but by the time you retire on that Tuesday, you'll say, what, am I kidding myself? But Bill is a champion of the customer, right?
Yeah.
And there's so many times I ask Bill to say, hey, listen, if they're valuable customers, they get this service level, and if they're kind of baseline customer, they get that level. And he would just shake his head, no way. Bill gave the same level every single customer. And that was a mandate he had from the beginning. It was not a great business model, but that's who he was. What? So it has to be moral, has to be ethical, has to be legal, and it has to serve the customer. That was his 4 pillars of what he came to work for every single day for 45 years. By the way, if Wells Fargo had more Bill Bergbauer working for them, they would be $2 billion richer 4 years ago. Because we would have never gotten to the mess we had if we had all Bills laying around. So Bill, retirement's going to be great. Your stress and your pressure and your frustration will be like, do you want bacon or Taylor Hamlin? Do you want to get the paper on time? If it's a little late, you get a little frustrated with that. There's none of that stuff is going to be available for you. And the camaraderie, which is what I miss and you'll miss, I found out the camaraderie is global. There's be plenty of people you're going to start new relationships. I would encourage you to stay with these people here because they do like you. You like them, most of them. I think everybody. Yeah, everybody. So you got to work on that. Make sure these relationships still stay alive. But I just want to also ditto what Al said. You've been a professional for 45 years. You're a banker. You are truly a banker. that unfortunately, people like you aren't coming up through the ranks anymore. It's just a different world. You are special, you care for the customer, you care for the people, and you care for your family. We've heard stories about games and cats in Philadelphia. It's all over, so he does bring that to work, trust me. You guys should feel proud of your dad.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, for sure.
I had to get cat food from Wegmans.
You're right.
Let you know.
So one show, so I'll just end it. In fact, I saw this in the YMCA today. I'll steal it from them. A sign said, happiness is the new rich. So I will say to you, all of us feel that our wish is that you will be as rich in happiness for the next stage of your life and your family. So thank you, Bill. Thank you very much.
On the way into work, when we were coming here to meet her coworkers, that gee, I think we're going to La Pastoria next Wednesday with the people from work. So I really appreciate everybody coming. All I can say is, and thank you, Bob. I mean, Bob's the one who hired me.
46 years ago?
Watch it, youngster.
But actually, that was not, we were talking about today, 8.5, almost 9 years ago, which is just incredible. This is going to be my easy pre-retirement job that I was going to run through, and it was anything but. Bob's always been there as a manager, working with all of you, the RMs and Alex, the VAs, and Ryan. And look at the count. I was just thinking before I went to that thing down the shore with Pete, the VA team I worked with, Alex, now RM, he was a CA, that was quite a team we worked with back in the day.
It would have been you if you ever put your name in the hat.
Exactly.
You would have superseded all of us.
No. Yeah, put Maureen's name on that email. Yeah, there you go. No, that was really, call Fred. I'll send you his email address. Those two things came out today. No, it's my position was better, but just looking back, I mean, when I started in 1973, so funny. I graduated college. My first job was up the street. I could actually walk to it from our house. It was probably about 500 yards away. I was a supervisor trainee in the department, which started with 8 people. I ended up with well over 100. And in an operations division, we didn't even have a calculator. We had adding machines. Yeah, right. I mean, the Bomar Brain came out in my first year. It was $500 to buy a little calculator. But that's how old.
What college?
Seton Hall. Went to Seton Hall. When we went to Seton Hall University, I was going to apply to Seton Hall and Fairleigh Dickinson. Fairleigh Dickinson said yes first. Seton Hall came back and said yes, and then my father said, well, okay, let's go take a look. We drove up to Seton Hall on a Saturday morning. We drove into the parking lot. He says, how does this look? That was my college. That's what we did, and I was
College visit.
But I was mostly an operations person, and then at one point in time, one of my jobs was to demonstrate the ATM, because ATMs were new at the time when we opened the branch. I got the ATM up and running, and I showed people how to use this machine, And the chairman's, the board's wife, once mentioned to the chairman, saying, gee, that guy that does the ATM demonstrations, what does he do? He said, he should be at the branches. So they called me one day and they said, we need to go to the branches. And I'm like, no, I don't want to ever talk to a customer. All right, fine. So then a couple months later, they sat me down and said, okay, my boss Bob at the time says, you're going to a branch. I said, all right, where? He says, well, you're going to be the manager at the one in Linden. I said, manager? I thought I'd be like an assistant manager, like in Clark, like a real little thing. It was a pretty big branch. And I said, don't be silly, And I walked out of the office and went to lunch. They had the secretary, the admin had to go get me for lunch to bring me back and say, Bill, this is really gotta go. So that was when I went from no beer to beer. It gets worse, and then
He's roasting himself.
I mean, I was 3 months into, and then here, Bill. Oh, by the way, you have to renew a credit line because you did that at the branches that time. I said, a what? You know, I thank my father. He sent me to Seton Hall. I learned accounting and I learned how to write.
Well, you didn't know Blast then.
No. But you had to write your credit.
It was barely ATM machine.
You had to do your credit write-ups. You typed them. You figured out all the ratios. You typed them, made 12 copies. It was Officers Loan Committee, which was the chairman, the president, all that. And you handed out and you described your deal. And I had a very good commercial loan officer that trained me. But and then my second time, and I really learned to enjoy the customers when I got there. And then the second kind of funny thing about how and if ever I picked something, it would have been wrong. Whatever I would have picked probably would have been the wrong thing to do. Whatever my manager at the time picked for me turned out to be the right thing. So I didn't want to go to branch. I had to go. So then working at First Union. First Union.
People are not first.
I was first.
So I was going to quit then. Oh, they wanted to
Fidelity
transfer me to
I
Hillside.
was first for
And I walked out, and Yvonne said, Bill, we're going to send you to Hillside.
Oh, Vaughn.
Yeah.
I'm proud to Yvonne now.
For my benefit. And I said, you know what, Yvonne? I don't want to go to Hillside. I'll find my own other job. So she called me back in. You know, I got to go back in. Just try it. And I tried it. And, you know, this is rest. But, and then I was fortunate enough to meet Pete, Phil, and Bill Jervis. And I actually had an interview with Bill and Bill and Bill Jervis. But then we were going to be, that was during merger. I said, you know what, I better stay. And then Phil called me one day and said, Bill, there's an opening for that job you wanted. You need to apply today.
You lost like 30 years in the 82.
So, yeah.
You got some power there.
Two funny stories. Now, you can, well, we never got to how I went from 2 beers to, now it's like martinis.
That stuff the other night, he was texting me at work.
Yeah.
Like, merger.
Yeah, went up a little bit.
Yeah.
Paradise cocktails. But I'll tell you, my family, I mean, it was a lot of hours, and it wasn't. There were times I missed the game or missed the cheerleading. Well, the cheerleading contest, that was, oh, darn, I missed that cheerleading. Did you ever go to one? 8 hours long. You're doing her thing for like 10, 2 minutes. 2 minutes and you're done.
Is that why you go to Philadelphia to take care of the cat? Is that
That was, and my wife is, I was telling, who was I telling? Maureen this morning. This afternoon, I said, every time I worry about something, because my father, when he retired, had a heart attack on the day of this. Maybe that's why my wife didn't tell me.
Meanwhile, we scare him with it.
That's why she did. This is a surprise. But he was a worrier, and I inherited his worrying. You know how I am at work.
We know.
I know.
I was telling Maureen today, I said, every time I'm this way, she pulls me in that way. Don't worry. Don't worry. And it's quite the pillar.
That's a good thing.
Yeah. So, yeah, she said, don't worry. And that's right. And the night I woke up, oh my God.
Well, now don't worry.
I'm waiting for that
Be
Wednesday.
happy.
Yeah.
But thank you all for coming.
October 11th.
And, Sharon knows make me laugh. We'll go out on Wednesday.
We're going on Wednesday. We're not coming here, though.
I gotta tell a Sharon story though today. So I'm going out for lunch, and I'm starting to cough before I go.
My customer asked to take Bill out to lunch today.
Oh, nice.
So, yeah.
Very nice. And I'm like, I'm coughing. I'm like, went over to Tom's refrigerator. I never go there. There's no water. I said, yes, please. Yeah, right. Yeah, there was something. There were like 500 gallons of water in our department yesterday. I said, Sharon, what happened to all the water that was here yesterday?
Sharon, yes.
Sharon.
No,
Sharon
Sharon.
lives, don't worry, under the bus.
But as Maureen and I are the elevator's getting ready to close, Sharon comes running up and said, here, and gave me a bottle of water.
He said, what do you do? You know, I said, I called him my name. What do you do? I said, Felicia did it. So anyway, he got the water, I got it out there.
Felicia, you probably found it. No, but you were
I
listening.
went and got water.
But I thought it was, I didn't want to get in the car and like, start choking.
Yeah.
I
I
had
didn't want you.
water with me. You were like, no, I'm okay. I'm okay.
No.
We've got a few things for you, Bill. For your 46 years, I'll have you know that C. Allen Parker's last official
Wow.
as the interim president of Wells Fargo was to sign your letter
Wow.
honoring
Valuable.
your 46 years of dedicated service to the bank. C. Allen
Seriously?
Parker, interim CEO and president. And that was the last thing he did.
Wow.
It says-
The next one is from Tony Teresi.
Oh my God.
That's going to be worth something someday.
Wow, that's impressive.
How long have you been with the bank?
Since April.
And we have this
Don't drop it on anyone's
blue
head.
site
Oh, okay.
that you can display proudly in your house.
On the mantle.
William P. Birdbauer with gratitude for 46 years of service. Now I can take this back and have them edit it.
Still
trying.
40 seconds. That's very nice.
Very nice.
And we have another little present for you. And do you guys have the other one?
That's it. Wait. That's it.
That's it. She said.
Oh, did you? Yeah.
The little box.
It's in that box.
Oh,
That small box.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. So we wrapped it. Yeah, it's in there.
Yeah. I
Oh, wow.
Give it to her.
You have it, yeah.
Oh, I like
you
that.
missed that, yeah.
That Wells Fargo.
Yeah. I said
Gold
what I
plated
was like,
stagecoach.
Give him the big
I
card.
did that.
Give him the big card.
What's on the bottom?
Retired.
Retired.
Yeah, you get it.
Retired. Now you can't wear that on the lapel page until after the 11th. To be in
We'll have to call
compliance
security.
with dress code.
And actually, I want to go over to that guy that they hired a couple weeks ago that stands up and talks loud all day. Over that, and I want to go, look, I'm leaving.
Oh, with the monitor?
Yeah, you're right, with the
The
monitor.
monitor.
He was jumping up and down this morning and talking.
I know, oh my God.
He was like getting a workout.
I was like,
Is that the technology for technology?
That's why we need doors.
What are you doing? Technology for technology.
I wanted to fill this in when you leave. I don't know how many days.
He's technology.
All right.
He's technology for technology.
And we have a tiny card for you.
He said it like
wow, that's.
Thank Felicia for that. I know they
I donated and I didn't get the
I
sign.
still have the one when I left.
It's full size.
Yeah.
And this is to hang up in your camp for the next few days.
Yeah,
Daily.
Yeah, I need to get you some chalk though.
I'm gonna make sure
I
I
need to
get
get some chalk, yeah.
No, actually, even a few of
That's a
the,
great one.
even a few of the transient workers, whatever you call it, they know, hey, you got
I've never seen a screen like this. You got a screen like this. A long. He's to the back. When you leave, the screen is like
The
this.
last one that came in was from
Yeah.
New York.
You saw it?
I lied.
He's a
Yeah, you know,
He's
he's in Madison.